I'm sitting in a corner in my kitchen, breastfeeding the baby, waiting for the girls to come through that door to do another performance. So we are mid-performance, they've done one, it's the morning. Thought I'd do a quick check-in. I didn't get to do one yesterday. I'm not liking the nighttime videos, I think they're kind of ugly. But I wanted to do a quick homeschool check-in because for me, it's the mental game, and this is the thing that I've been really kind of not known how to talk about, is that, so I started last year, at the end of last year when we started talking about doing homeschooling, I was like, I started this journey being like, yeah, like I've taught myself so many skills over my life. I just hyper focus and then I teach myself that skill and it's awesome, and then I'll just know how to do that and I'll be able to do that with homeschooling and it'll be fine. And, you know, I got that kind of, like blind courage, because I was just like, okay, well, heaps of other people homeschool and they're not trained teachers. Because there's a few like key things that people lob at you about homeschooling, like, oh, they're not going to socialize. My kids are fully socialized, they're fine. They see heaps of people and they talk to people all the time. They also say like, but you're not a teacher, like, or I'm not a teacher, how would I be able to teach my kids? So I was just very arrogantly just like, oh, well, other people homeschool, so I can homeschool. Hang on, I think the dance performance is on. And in theory, that was a good idea because I've always just taught myself like so many new skills. I had a teacher when I was 16 who's told me that I was a terrible teacher. She wasn't wrong. Like, I'm a kind of snappy teacher who's kind of like, oh, that's not right, let's do it again. But it's definitely stayed with me my whole life. I'm someone who kind of, once I hear something like that, I'll hold on to it. And so I have a fair bit of anxiety around teaching. And there's just been some major block in my head where I haven't been able to think creatively and on the go like I can when I'm doing a lot of my other creative work. So my friend who's been advising me, you know, she's like, well, Scout's a kinetic learner. So kinetic being like she likes to move and touch and do things. Because I was saying, you know, when I'm reading and the conventional teacher we've got in our life says I have to be teaching her adjectives. So, you know, the enormous bag or whatever, and like highlight those words to her. And every time I do, when we're reading, Scout like starts squirming and she's like, I don't want to do that. Sorry, my camera's moving because the baby's holding onto my leg. She's like, I don't want to do that because she doesn't even say why. She's just like, oh, just keep reading. And I'm like, okay, I don't know, this like isn't working. Like there's a lot of things that aren't working with that. And so my friend's like, well, she's a kinetic learner, so like write down, as you're reading, write down, you know, have her see you writing down all of those words and then play charades with them or whatever. I'm like, I just wouldn't think of that. Like, I don't know how to think of these things on the go. And so I've been feeling a lot of like self judgment that I am not a very creative thinker, which is crazy because I am a very creative thinker in some aspects of my life, but in this one I just haven't been. And then the other thing that I've been really struggling with homeschooling is just my own brain and the way that I run. I don't know, like it's something about this. I was really counting on a hyper focus of mine to kick in because I'm so passionate about homeschooling, but something's happened where I've just kind of in freeze instead of in flow, and that's been really hard. So where I would have expected me to stay up late and read about all different kinds of things, I'm just kind of like in a bit of resistance mode. And so our days, like we've had a beautiful week this week that's just been us hanging out doing not much. We've done a lot of socializing, a lot of like we did sewing and lots of reading and other things like that, but no like official schoolwork. And that stresses me out because I'm like, oh my gosh, she's gonna fall behind. But it's like, unless I'm really on with getting up and being like, this is the exact rhythm or routine that we're gonna like follow today and this week, and then we're gonna do this and then we're gonna do this. If I don't have that exactly written down for myself, then I can't make it work. And then the day just like, thanks baby. Yeah, I'm not looking, pop it down. not allowed to look at the costumes before they come out. Then I really struggled to get a flow on the day. So like today it's 9:30. I had to drop my sister at the bus station. Then we've come back and had breakfast, like a slow breakfast with lots of reading, and now the girls are just playing dress up, and I'm kind of like putting on a load of washing, but like not, when I'm like, okay, go, this is what we're doing, like I can get a load of washing on and keep moving really fast, but like when I'm not in flow, I'm like, oh, the washing, and that takes a while, and then I've got to walk over here, and I don't know, and my brain is just, it's like it's on a different planet. And I find it really hard to focus and then kind of think about the games and like enriching things, and I'm not baking and I'm not doing, like, so it's not just like, oh, we're just doing life. It's like I'm just kind of faffing. So it's really, feels really rough to like admit that, but I think the biggest hurdle for me is going to be overcoming how to wake up every day with that energy and that renewed focus on something that I'm finding abjectly terrifying, and yet I really, really value and really, really want to do. So it's a Venn diagram I haven't come up with before, of like high value, low, I suppose motivation would be one way of seeing it. And there's so much I want to read and explore and engage with, but my creative brain is feeling like, oh, I want to be like stretching and doing other things in my life as well. So I'm definitely like experiencing that kind of push-pull about wanting to be a creative in the world, but I don't really want to send my kids to school. I want them to be here. I want to be teaching them. So the biggest struggle with the homeschool is kind of an internal one. I could just be following a curriculum and just go, I'm ticking the boxes, it's fine, we're doing fine, but feeling like I want to explore different methods of teaching and exploring, the kinetic, like, because she's so kinetic, I think that the stencils are quite dull for her. So I could be box checking with all of those, but I want to be expanding. Yeah. But we've had a bit of a beautiful, just mellow week, doing a whole lot of socializing and a whole lot of like little bits and pieces, like sewing and things like that, as I said. So that's my update from this week, really. My sum up is that every week seems totally different at the moment. We're not in a flow. I can see where we're going. I can see that by having the girls home, Scout is starting to drop into her, like a really deep, creative play that I hadn't seen in her much before, because I'm taking out that like constantly going out. Like we still have extracurricular activities most days of the week, but which she's just not like, what's the next big activity? What are we doing next? And so she's able to relax and be at home and be creative, which is what I really, really hope for this age. I need to get a stand for my phone, guys. I'm so sorry. What I really hope for this age is for her to be able to drop into wonder and creative play and like, read these books and think about other worlds and just, be full of wonder and imagination at the moment. So that's cool. I'm seeing her and her sister, they constantly problem solving together, working through disagreements and arguments, but also like creating full-on games together and play. And so the benefits that I'm seeing already, I think are huge, and I can see a life like this, but I just need to work on me mainly and staying focused and committed. This week I got really distracted with wanting to do YouTube stuff, and my brain's gone there and it keeps wandering over there instead of towards school stuff. So I really want to keep making these videos, but part of me is going to be having to find my discipline. And my friends are all like, but you are really disciplined. I'm like, I know, but it's like really weird. It's only when I'm really interested in something, and I am really interested in the teaching, but I can't work out why there's this big block. It feels like a fear, or maybe it's a worry about it not feeling as a value because I want to be doing creative, but all of that stuff feels too intellectual. Like it really just feels like maybe I'm bored by the stencils also. I don't know, like it feels really forced doing all of that learning. And me and my husband talk a lot, Eli, you guys know Eli, a lot about like the differences of schooling, like between kind of sitting down and having formal schooling times and seeing a value in learning how to sit down and learn, and kind of everything being through play. All right, darling, they're ready for a performance. So I'm going to go now. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys next week.